Okay, I'd like to call this regular meeting, the Coralville City Council, to order on February 28, 2017. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hope.
Present.
Gross. Here. Gill.
Present.
Dodds.
Present.
Goodrich.
Here.
Okay, all council members are present, as is the mayor, the city clerk, city administrators, legal staff, and several city staff members. I would entertain a motion to approve an amended agenda.
So moved. That's 16 and a half ICAD.
Okay, we are going to add a presentation by the Iowa City Area Development Group towards the end of the agenda.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, okay. Item 4 is citizen comments. This is the time for anyone in the audience that would like to speak to us about an item that's not already on the agenda. Anybody like to chat with us? Sure. Please introduce yourself.
Okay.
And sign in.
Hi, my name's Scott Hendrickson. I live on Northridge Drive in Coralville. So first, congratulations on being recognized by League of American Bicyclists as a bronze level bicycle-friendly community. There are actually 3 items on that report card that I was interested in, but I couldn't find anything on the website. They were the Active Bicycle Advocacy Group, an Active Bicycle Advisory Committee, and a bike plan that's current and being implemented. So I was just going to suggest that maybe have a web page that advertises your bike friendliness and has links to those different things. I'd kind of like to be involved in some of those groups. Great. Just going to find information about them. The other thing I wanted to talk about was Sharrows. On the report card, it listed key steps to silver, and one of those steps was to develop and design a manual that meets current NACTO standards. That's the National Association of City Transportation Officials. In there, it talks about Sharrows, and it says, Sharrows encourage bicyclists to position themselves safely in lanes too narrow for a motor vehicle, alerts motor vehicles to the potential presence of bicyclists, alerts road users to the lateral position bicyclists are expected to occupy within the travel lane. Later, it says, lateral placement is critical to encourage riders to avoid the door zone. On streets with posted 25-mile-per-hour speeds or slower, preferred placement is in the center of the travel lane to minimize wear and encourage bicyclists to occupy the full travel lane. As I said earlier, I couldn't find the Coralville bike plan, but I did find an Iowa DOT document and a Johnson County master plan. And in there, it also talks about Sharrows, indicates that appropriate bicycle positioning in a shared lane. And in the Johnson County plan, it says, Sharrow does not indicate a separated bicycle lane, but instead directs the bicyclists to travel in their proper lane position. In the Coralville connection, it says the placement of Sharrows does not indicate where a bicyclist should ride within the lane. Again, it does not indicate where a bicyclist should ride within the lane. So I know that they moved them to save on painting and stuff, and I'm fine with the position that they're at, but I just like to change the definition to be consistent with the other bicycle-friendly communities, mainly for 2 reasons. If we have visitors from out of town that are familiar with Sharrows, they're not going to know that Coralville has different rules and you're not supposed to be in that position. And it's also educating Coralville drivers in the wrong way. If they visit these other cities, they're going to assume that bicyclists are not supposed to be in that position. So that's it. Thanks.
Great, Scott.
Yeah, thank you.
Those are all good points.
Scott.
And I think that, I know that now that we've been gained this kind of preliminary or entry-level status, they were going to strive for gold and better. There's going to be a lot more attention paid to issues just like the ones you mentioned. I know we want to work even more closely with the Iowa Bicycle Coalition that's housed down at our intermodal facility. So I think you'll see a lot more attention, and we'll make sure that the Parks and Rec, Sherry Proud, and those folks know you so you can be involved and invited to participate. Thanks. Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Item 5 is the fiscal year 2018 budget. This is a resolution approving the 18 budget. This has been presented at the 2 previous council meetings, including a public hearing at the previous council meeting, and has been made available on very many venues across the city. So I don't think we'll put the audience through another presentation of the budget unless Mitch really wants it.
I like the sound of Tony's voice.
So I would consider a resolution.
Resolution approving the fiscal year 2018 budget is introduced for adoption by Councilmember Hope, seconded by.
Second.
Moved by Host, seconded by Gill. Discussion. After all that work, no one has a comment? Just great job.
Yeah, great job, staff.
Yep. I agree. Roll call.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodd.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Hope.
Aye.
Okay. Resolution is approved, all ayes. Thank you very much. Item 6 is Riverview Plaza public hearing. Item A is a building department report, and I'll let the building official Jim Kessler take it from here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the area that's located along First Avenue, actually the site of the old Brisky Cabinet Shop, and it's going to encompass the carpet warehouse building that Randy's Carpet owns up there, and then it'll go over and it will also encompass the area that's owned by Hawkeye Ready Mix, where they do some repair work and they park their trucks in that parking area there. So the first thing we'll look at is the rezoning, and it's a 2-place rezoning. We're rezoning some of it from C3 to CPUD1 and some from C2 to CPUD1. So it's these 3 different tracts of land that are being rezoned. And so they're all being rezoned to a C2 or CPUD1 from C3, C2 area. That's the first item on the agenda. The second item on the agenda is the preliminary plat for that area, and it's divided into, and I apologize, this is very hard to read because they've got a lot on here, but it's divided into 3 lots. Lot number 1 being the southern area where the Briskey's area was located. Lot number 2, more or less in the area to the north of that where Randy's Carpet was, and lot number 3 is the area owned by Hawkeye Ready Mix for development. This development's going to be done in 3 different stages. With final completion date for all 3 stages in the fall of 2019. So as we look at the site plan, the first phase, oops, I'm sorry, that's the wrong site plan, that's a little later. The first phase will be the southernmost building right here, and it'll be the parking that is for that building. The second phase will be the Randy's Carpet building up here, and these 2 buildings will be identical. They will face First Avenue. And the third phase will encompass the Hawkeye Ready Mix plant, and that'll be a building that's 4 stories high. All of these buildings have turned into 4-story buildings. These 2 buildings here that face First Avenue will have 9,000 square feet, plus or minus a little bit. Retail on the first floor, they'll have 3 apartments above, 3 floors of apartments above that. So each building will have the retail space, ground floor, 39 dwelling units above each building. And this building back here, a 4-story building, the ground level of that building will be parking, underground, or not underground parking, but undercover parking. And then it will also be 4 stories with 3 floors of apartments above that, and that will have a 46 units apartment. So we'll have 39, 39, and 46 apartments there. Be developed in 3 phases. This area here is turned into an amenity for it, and I don't have the amenity to show you on this, but and the next time we'll be looking at this, we'll be looking at the part 1. In the part 1, they have configured this amenity. We've worked with them to get an amenity that's much like in the plaza area in Old Town. So we have a pagoda here with benches in the pagoda, be a grill out here for grilling, and then this is a bermed area for landscaping and berming, and it has some benches along there for just sitting. So. And then I didn't mention that in between these 2 buildings, as we go back to the other site plan, will be a plaza area. And this will be landscaped plaza area, and the idea is to have some benches in there too, to make it a nice area between the 2 buildings here. So I would also show you some images of the building. I have images These are kind of hard to figure out. It took us a while to figure out what these images are. But these are images of the two buildings that are going to be along First Avenue. Now, we have to look at this. This is actually all one building. It's just different views of one building. This building here, as you're looking at this building facing First Avenue, so this would be the east elevation of that building facing First Avenue. You'd be looking at it from the north. So the plaza area would be here between these two buildings. This building, this is the building as you're looking at it from the south, or from the 2nd Street. So you can see that we have a finished area here with brick and some masonry below that. And this view here is actually the same building, but this is looking at it from the west as well. I believe I'm correct on that. So it's all one building, and there are two buildings. Both buildings are going to set along First Avenue. These two buildings we're looking at here. I was trying to see if I had a different image for you. I guess I don't. So what we're looking at here, and we have the live board now below you, are the materials for all four of the buildings. As you can see, the brick color is red. The stone color around the bottom is a darker gray here with the lighter stone across the bottom of it. This is just some of the hardy plank siding that's going to be in different places for trim. This, of course, is the trim color for the windows and the door trim. And this is a dark color you can't see, but you can probably see the swatch of it on the live one down there. This is kind of what is framing in the doors and over the doors. There's some trim over the doors that this frames in. There's one other piece of this that you guys have asked for, and that's the traffic study.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to present this. Dan's got the traffic study that they got, so he can go over that with you.
Before you go, Jim, I just had a question. We had slotted a couple units for affordable housing. Have we determined for sure which building those are in?
I think they're in the First Avenue buildings. They're in the buildings along First Avenue. I think they're in phase number 1, First Avenue.
So that's the first building to go up?
First
Good.
building to go up.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, as Jim mentioned, one of the things that we'd all asked for with this development was we were concerned about the proximity of the south driveway along First Avenue to the berm and to the bridge there, and so we'd asked their Watts Consultants to do a site distance study for us, and we've received that study now. And the results of the study are that if you come out of that drive facing First Avenue, there's no problem turning right because you got great site distance to the north, and the site distance to the south for coming out or turning left is minimally adequate to meet the standards that are required. So it is appropriate, but barely. So based on that, we find that it does meet the standards as required. But we would encourage a developer to, as quickly as possible, get a connection to the north to 2nd Avenue, so that the people who want to come out of that development and go west or go north, can go up to 5th Street and then hit the signal at 1st Avenue and 5th Street, which would be a much safer and appropriate way to go.
So Dan, was that their words minimally adequate that the study said? That makes me a little nervous.
There's a range of criteria, and it meets the bottom of the range. So it does meet.
Well, Dan,
it meets the acceptable.
I don't buy that at all. That's just creating a major problem. And it's a great design, but I am not going to vote for an egress next to the creek.
Is there concern that they don't want traffic in that area while the other buildings are being built? Is that a concern that they don't want to route traffic that way?
Let me go over one more thing that they told me today. During construction, they have, everybody that owns property here, I guess, is partners in this development. And during construction, they have worked something out with Hawkeye, and we have an actual letter from the gentleman from Hawkeye Ready Mix. They're going to have a temporary access coming down here for construction purposes while they're building phase number 1. They're going to block off an area on the eastern half of Hawkeye Ready Mix's property so that they'll have access from 4th Street up here into here for construction traffic and what have you. And then when this is done, that will still stay there for a secondary access from this phase 1 while they're doing phase 2. Because it'll be on phase 3's property, and it'll be barricaded off from phase 2 so that there's safe traffic up there for construction traffic. And then when that's done and this is occupied, then it will also be able to be used for secondary access out of here. But all that being said, this access point is still here.
Any other questions for Dan?
I mean, you didn't have any other options that you think that would make that safer to up it from,
The only way you can make it safer would be to move it farther north away from the bridge, and as the layout here is, as
That would probably be right there.
yeah, and I mean this is kind of the layout that they proposed in their initial proposal, and that's kind of the layout that's carried through that you've all approved, and indicated that was your preference. So.
So would you say for about a year, it will be inconvenient? It will be,
Well, no, because
funnel
when it
right there.
opens, they will have that secondary access.
okay.
Yeah.
They'll always, when it's all said and done, there'll be an access point here up to 4th Street. And there'll
Right.
also be access to 4th Street up through here as well.
would we be ahead of the game to just not let them turn that direction from that exit? So that all traffic has to go up to the light?
Yeah, I don't think I don't think that would work.
Yeah, I think that'd be an issue. It'd
Yeah,
probably
and
be
they do
worse.
have the center turn lane there, and that's what the center turn lane is for, so that you can get into the center turn lane when you're turning left. So, I mean, it does meet.
Well, and I guess from my perspective, if you think about the traffic on that road, significant twice a day, and one time at 5:30 or so, that's going northbound, so the right turn, that would be an issue for, northbound turn, but, yeah, minimal is, I agree,
Minimal is
Tom,
minimal.
it's a little
The
bit
stacking-
scary
the
there,
stacking in the
especially with
morning is-
what's going on, but I think,
Yeah.
that's a couple times a day where it's really would be significant. And
What's straight across from there? I mean,
Well, it's going to be the park, because that's where the ready mix is.
okay.
So, I don't
So it
think,
wouldn't meet qualifications for a light?
no.
No, I mean,
I mean, that's why they have the secondary access up to 5th Street, is to
Yeah.
provide
Yeah.
that.
And I think that naturally
When it
will
gets-
filter that way when they realize trying to get out there could be a real nightmare,
Yeah, it's just while they're building. I think
Yeah.
it's-
Right.
That's a good point, yeah.
I'm sorry, there was a road there at one time, and it was just ridiculous. Because you're coming out right next to the creek, and there's pedestrians there, and it's just going to be dangerous.
Thank you. Did you give the planning and zoning
No,
report?
I didn't.
Yeah.
The planning and zoning moved to approve this by 7-0 vote.
Okay. Item C is a public hearing on this proposed rezoning from C2 arterial and R3 mixed housing to CPUD 1. I'll open the public hearing. Are there any comments from anyone in the audience? Any written comments?
No written.
Seeing and hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and consider first consideration of the ordinance.
Ordinance number 2017-1003, an ordinance amending the Coralville zoning ordinance, the same being ordinance number 664, as previously amended, rezoning certain property located within the corporate limits of the city of Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa, and generally known as Riverview Plaza from C2 Arterial Commercial District and R3 Mixed Housing Residential District to CPUD 1 Commercial Plan Unit Development 1 District. Is introduced for adoption, first consideration by Councilmember Gross, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Discussion. Roll call.
Gill.
Nay.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Hope.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye. Okay, ordinance passes its first consideration, 4 ayes and 1 nay. Item E is approved preliminary plat.
Resolution approving the preliminary plat for Riverview Plaza, Coralville, Iowa, is introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Dodds. Discussion? Roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Hope.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Nay.
Okay, preliminary plats approved, all ayes, 1 nay. Item 7, thank you, Jim. Item 7 is First Avenue Duct with a T Bank Project, 6th Street to 9th Street. And it's a public hearing on the plans and specs for this project, which is for the construction of underground duct, or the cables will be pulled through along First Avenue from basically 6th Street north up to 9th Street or so. I'll open the public hearing on the plans and spec for this project. Any comments? Any written?
No written.
Yeah, close the public hearing, and we'll introduce the ordinance and then, or the resolution, and Dan looks like maybe he'll tell us something. Resolution, please.
Resolution approving the plan specifications, estimate of cost and formal contract, ordering bids and setting a date for the receiving of said bids, and directing posting of the bid letting all for the First Avenue Duck Bank Project, 6th Street to 9th Street, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Dodd, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Hoft. Discussion. Dan, do you want to go over like sort of the timetable for the public
Sure.
and so forth?
Yeah, as Mayor Lindell mentioned, this project is anticipation of the street reconstruction project from 6th to 9th on First Avenue. And the idea is to install this common duct bank that then the utility companies will buy their own individual ducts in, and then they'll move their facilities from overhead to underground or from underground to the proper place so that they're not in the way for the street construction project. The intent would be to bid this project in March and award at the end of March, and then they would have April, May, June to do this work, to install that duct bank, and then the private utilities would have the rest of the summer and early fall to convert their facilities from the overhead again to the new underground duct bank. And then the street project will be under design during this period, and it will be bid in November of 2017 through the DOT, because they have money involved in this. And so we would anticipate that the street improvement project would primarily be 18 construction, calendar year 18 construction, to be completed by the end of 2018.
Terrific. Questions for Dan? Other discussion? Roll call.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Hoft.
Aye.
Gross. Aye.
Gill. Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. Item 8 is Highway 6 street lighting from 22nd Avenue to Coral Ridge Avenue. Also a public hearing on the plans and spec. This is to replace all the street lights along Highway 6 and 22nd Avenue to Coral Ridge Avenue with the same style and color lights that were used last year's project on Highway 6 from Clear Creek to Hawkins Drive. Open the public hearing. Any comments? Any written?
No written.
Close the public hearing and consider a resolution.
Resolution approving the plan specifications, estimate of cost, and formal contract, ordering bids, setting a date for the receiving of said bids, and directing posting of the bid letting all for Highway 6 street lighting from 22nd Avenue to Coral Ridge Avenue, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gill. Discussion. Eric is here.
This will replace the remaining streetlights on Highway 6 that are the gray rusty ones from 22nd Ave to Coral Ridge Ave. We have 18 sidewalk and 37 overhead. We'll convert all these to LED and put on the new metal Coralville banners similar to what we have from Clear Creek Bridge to Iowa City. We'll approve these bids in late March. The pole lead time is, I'm assuming, about 3 to 4 months. So we're hoping to have these installed by end of July sometime, depending on what the lead time is.
Terrific. That'll be a great
So
improvement.
what's
Those,
nice-
the LED lights that replaced on the old section are just fantastic.
Yes, they look good.
They really changed the appearance of
Yeah.
the
And this will
strip.
also take care of the, I think there's 6 poles on 25th Ave from Highway 6 up to the mall.
Okay,
Get those
Great.
all replaced out too.
great. Eric Fisher, our Director or Superintendent of Streets and Sanitation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. There's no other questions, discussion, roll call.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Hopt.
Aye.
Gross. Aye. Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Item 9, Water Treatment Facility Improvements Project. Item A is a bid report. Dan Holderness.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bids were received for this project on January 19th. We received 5 bids for the project. The low bid was submitted by Myron Construction, low base bid in the amount of $4,195,182. And that bid, however, was about 17% above the engineer's estimate. And so we were concerned about that. And so we've done a lot of research in the area and it appears that there's a lot of projects being bid right now, and the contractors are not hungry for work at all, and so that's why we got a bid that was a bit above what we anticipated for. We have checked with the SRF folks in Des Moines for the financing that we typically do with this, and they are comfortable with the bid that we did receive, and so you also received a memo from Tony Rutland, Finance Director, And we've reviewed all this in depth and in great detail, and it appears that we can award to the low bid of Myron for not only the base bid, but the 2 alternates as well, and be able to pay for that under the existing rate structure. Also including the refinancing of the older water debt that Tony had mentioned several meetings ago. So while it is more than we had hoped to pay for the project, it appears at this point in time that's the value of the project based on the workload of all the contractors. And so we would recommend approval, award to Myron again for the base bid plus the 2 alternates.
Great, thank you. Consider a resolution.
Resolution accepting bids and awarding the construction contract for the water treatment facility improvement 2017, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Wolf, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Discussion. Roll call.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Hope.
Aye.
Item C, same project, resolution.
Resolution approving the contract and bond documents for the water treatment facility improvements 2017, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gross, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gill. Discussion. Roll call.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Hope.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye. Resolution is approved, all ayes. Item 10 is storm sewer improvements, and this is just a bid report.
Thank you. On February 21st, we did receive bids for the Brown Deer Road and Old Hickory Lane Storm Sewer Improvements Project. This is a project that's back in the hills above the pond on Brown Deer Golf Course, and then there's some significant erosion there. It was something we've been needing to get to for a while to get repaired. The low bid, we received 4 bids. The low bid was from Kalachi Construction, $87,090. Our engineer's estimate was around $79,000, so the bid's about 10% over. And so we would like to take some time and just review this and work with the neighbors some more to make sure we have everything resolved with neighbors as well. And so our recommendation is to just report the bids tonight, and then we will be back to you hopefully on March 28th with a recommendation.
Very good. Thank you, Dan. Item 11 is 413 and 415 10th Avenue Asbestos and Hazardous Materials Abatement Project. And this is, the item A is a resolution on the plans and specs for removing asbestos prior to demolition of these 2 buildings.
Resolution ratifying the plans and specifications, estimate of costs, and form contract, ordering bids for the 413 and 415 10th Avenue Asbestos and Hazardous Materials Abatement Project is introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Dodds. Discussion. Roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Hope.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. Item B is bid report.
Thank you. We received 4 bids for this project on February 22nd. The low bid was submitted from Robinson Brothers Environmental in the amount of $19,100, and this was significantly lower than the consultant's estimate, so we would recommend award to Robinson Brothers at the amount of $19,100. And as a side note, they were the firm that did the asbestos abatement on the Brisky property, and they did a very good job and did it very quickly. So we know that they're a good contractor.
Yeah, I noted in their bid that they'll say they'll get done in 2 weeks once awarded.
Yes.
Told that they can get started, so that's great.
Yes.
2 weeks?
That's what he says. Okay, so I consider a resolution.
Resolution accepting bids and awarding contract for the 413 and 415 10th Avenue Asbestos and Hazardous Materials Abatement Project, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Dodd, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Hoft. Discussion. Roll call.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Hope.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Item 12 is Iowa Arena Site Civil Services. This is approving an agreement with Shive Hattery to do civil design for grading, for site grading, pavement, hardscape, and other utility work in and around the arena site.
Resolution approving an engineering services agreement with Shive Hattery, Inc. for Iowa Arena Site Civil Services, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gill. Discussion? Roll call.
Hope.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Item 13 is Iowa River Landing Sanitary Sewer and Roadway Grading Project. This is an engineering agreement with H.R. Green to do final design for the sanitary sewer relocation and installation work in and around the arena site.
Resolution approving an engineering services agreement with HR Grading for South Iowa River Landing Sanitary Sewer and Roadway Grading Project 2017, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Hof, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Discussion? Roll call.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Hoft.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Item 14 is the Oakdale Overlay District, and this is the third and final consideration of an ordinance that just makes a modification for that zone for allowing businesses to open at 5 a.m. rather than the current 6 a.m.
Ordinance number 2017-1002, an ordinance amending the Coralville Community Plan Community Development Design Guidelines for the Oakdale Boulevard corridor by changing the allowable hours of operation. That ordinance is introduced for formal and final adoption on third consideration by Councilmember Gross, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Hoft. Discussion? Roll call.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Hoft.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Third and final consideration passes, all ayes. Item 15 is a resolution providing for the sale of bonds. These are bonds that are being solicited to refund existing obligation and capture some interest savings at a lower rate.
Resolution providing for the sale of bonds, setting perimeters for the sale of bonds, approving purchase agreements for the use of official statements and other related documents, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Dodds. Discussion? Roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Hoft.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Item 16 is Outlot A, which is on, address is 808 Fifth Street. This is just disposing of an outlot that will be used by the Blue Sky Development to continue their building along Fifth Street there.
Resolution of intent to dispose of a parcel of real property and soliciting alternate proposals for said parcel being a portion of Outlot A, 808 on 5th, First Edition, Coralville, Iowa, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Dodd, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gross. Discussion?
Yeah, they are, Blue Sky Development's done extremely well, and they've got their third building almost 100% leased, and it's not completed yet. And so this will be their fourth building. I think it's going to be a great addition to that area, and they've been doing a really good job of working with the neighborhood, with the city, with all of the infrastructure improvements. So I think this has really proven out to be a great success, and they do anticipate as soon as we get through this process that they will start construction on that fourth building.
Great.
Who seconded, please?
I did.
Gross.
Thank you.
In the highly unlikely event there's other parties interested in this outlot, the alternative proposals are due April 10th, and there'll be a public hearing on April 11th.
The problem is this outlot's so small you can build anything on it
Yeah,
anyways.
exactly.
Or the portion we're not giving them the whole one anyways.
Roll call.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Hoft.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Okay, resolution passes, all ayes. Item 16A is a presentation by the Iowa City Area Development Group.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for squeezing us into the agenda. Just wanted to come and do our annual update on how things are going with the interstate commerce companies we serve. And give you my annual reminder that I was born in Coralville. I've yet to, I don't know how many people can say that. I've yet to meet someone else born here.
That deserves a key to the city, doesn't it, Mayor?
So just for the audience, anyone watching at home, the Iowa City Area Development Group works to grow the economy through serving the interstate commerce companies. So that means we don't work with the retail businesses. We don't do tourism like Josh. We just work with those companies that are bringing outside revenue in. So traditionally that's been manufacturing, but that also means companies like Siemens out in the research park, the General Dynamics, that sort of company. So those companies that can locate anywhere in the world but choose to locate here, those are the companies we work to recruit and grow and start new ones. So we have a team of 6. We're a 501c6 nonprofit, been around since 1984. I think Kelly has been on our board since that time. Is that true?
1988.
Since '88. So we really value his leadership as a member of our executive committee on the board. We generally work in 5-year increments. The next time through, we're going to start a 4-year cycle just because things are changing quickly. So we're in year 5 now. So over the last 4.5 years, we've helped in the creation of over 1,700 jobs, worked on 20 expansion projects. A lot of these projects have been in Coralville. So when you think of the Meta Revs and the leapfrogs and those sort of things, a lot of the growth over the past 10 years has come in this community. And so it's an honor to get to serve this community. The growth, especially on the housing side, all these projects you were just talking about, that's really the catalyst right now. People want to work people choosing where they want to live and then work secondary, as opposed to the old model where people used to pick a city to live in based on their job. Now it's the other way around. And so all the amenities that the communities continued to develop and the housing options, I think that was one of the bottlenecks in our workforce for a long time. We had single family homes, but we didn't have the kind of the condo side. So the fact that all those projects have come out of the ground and are filling up is really a testament to our ability to attract that young workforce. And that remains our biggest challenge. So the companies we talk to, there's about 80 companies that we survey. They plan to hire 1,623 people. They had 471 jobs open. And then we know from some of the secondary research that there's about 1,000 positions that are going to come open through retirements at these firms. And so our biggest challenge right now is we need more people. And that's been the narrative for quite a while. One of the things we talk about, the natural pipeline of talent that has been coming towards the metros in Iowa from the rural area. Communities like where I grew up, there's just not as many young people left for us to absorb. So we've got to get more creative, and Kate's going to talk about that. Some of the things we're doing to attract people, because that's one of the shifts in our work. We've had to kind of expand our role to get more in the people recruitment business. So we survey your companies and the companies in the area, and we use a tool that allows us to compare these to national averages. And I've got a more detailed report for Kelly, but the bottom line is that the companies in Coralville are outpacing state and national norms in every one of these key performance indicators. So the things we're looking for: are you adding new products and services? Are you increasing your market size? Are you increasing your sales? And do you have plans to expand? The plans to expand statewide is only 47% of the companies in Iowa have plans to expand. And so when you look at that compared to our area, it's pretty incredible.
Mark, are those comparable to other places in Johnson County, or is there a difference within Coralville at that standpoint?
Yeah, you're a little bit higher than we kind of compare Coralville versus our whole service territory than the state and the national, and you're ahead of all those norms. But really, when you look state and nationally, you're kind of crushing the competition. So we ask, here's where we get into some of the challenges. The employers here, this one's kind of hard to read, but bottom line what this chart says is the employers love the productivity and quality of the workforce here. They're just not happy with the number of folks that are applying for jobs and staying in their positions. So that's been our challenge for some time. But the yellow line down there, that is the satisfaction. There's about 40 different categories that we break into these smaller subsets. So business support, their level of satisfaction with the city government, county government services, their internet, transportation, utilities, health and safety, and educational opportunities. You're far outpacing Iowa and state norms. It used to be the common refrain back in the day. Everyone was complaining about 965. Those complaints are gone now, and so there's really a lot of appreciation for all the upgrades to the infrastructure, the signalization, the housing amenities, all those things. So the employers like being here. It's just they need more people. So some of the SWOT analysis is very similar to what we showed you last year. Strong community support, cost of doing business is good. We didn't see a lot of concern, even with some of the minimum wage discussions that were going on. The employers that we work with are all paying generally, $18 and up for their wages. So those sorts of things didn't really have an impact on the employers we were talking about. Some of the things that are still out there. Cost of workforce housing, lack of second shift childcare. Some of the transportation issues are getting better with some of the ride sharing options and some things. We know, when the interchange gets redone at 380 and 80, that's going to present some challenges. We'll hear about that, I'm sure, when that happens, but we know it needs to get done. Some of the bigger threats that we're concerned with are some of these things, the data that's out there that 70% of the jobs that are in existence today are ripe for being eliminated. So these are the things that we're trying to be as proactive as we can and work with our employers to understand what their future needs are. How do we address the education needs that they have going forward, but then how do we prepare and diversify the economy? And so that's why we're doing things around autonomous vehicles and the U.S. Proving Grounds designation that we were awarded as a region. And so we're working with companies like ISE and Rockwell and some of the trucking companies like Heartland and CRST in the region to see if we can attract jobs in that space, right? We know that a lot of jobs are going to get eliminated, so how do we pivot and try to attract jobs on the front end? So those are the things we're trying to figure out. But a lot of expansion projects, a lot of companies will have one that we'll bring forward for some assistance. It goes before the state on March 17th, so there's a local match component. So project we're working on, and then a significant project that we're working on right now that Coralville's in the running for, and so we'll do all we can to win that. That would be a huge project. We're multiple hundreds of new jobs. So it's kind of good stuff that's going on. So nationally, that's the interesting thing when you dissect some of these numbers. The companies that this is their only place of business, while they have high satisfaction with a lot of the community assets, they rate the availability of workers lower than those companies who have this challenge all over the country. And so this company we're working on the expansion with, they said, when we look at our portfolio of companies, even though we know you're a little challenged for the number of people, the quality and the affordability of your people are still keep you on the radar for this expansion. So it's not all doom and gloom. There's really two kinds of communities out there right now. There's communities that would love to have more jobs, and there's communities like ours that are growing. And so we have the good problem to have.
Mark, can I ask you two quick questions?
Yeah.
Become the innovator in public education. What do you mean by that? And then secondly, the changes to the UI will affect. What changes are you talking?
So, I think the thing that's made Johnson County strong over the years was we had some of the best public schools in the nation. And I think one of the things that we've maybe rested on our laurels a little bit when I see some of the school districts like Waukee and some of those things, I think there's a huge opportunity for us to kind of re-engage and make sure that we've got some of the best schools in the nation. And how can we be more innovative? We've got the university here with a college of education, and you got ACT and Pearson and all these tech startups in the ed space. How do we leverage all that to get our schools to think and act a little bit differently? Because at the end of the day, families will choose to relocate to an area based on the schools. And we had an individual this fall that was offered a position at Civco from North Carolina. And he sent us, we spent 2 days with he and his family, showed him all the area, and they said, at the end of the day, we don't think your schools are quite up to par with what we have here. And that was a sock in the gut. We're not used to hearing that. And so, again, that's kind of our challenge. If we can, as ICAD and some of our partners, keep working to push for innovation, and then, the health of the university affects the whole county, right? And it's been the golden goose, and it's provided a lot of jobs. We know higher ed is going through a transition. I don't envy the position that President Harold is in right now with some of the budget cuts and other things. There are no good options. So it's one of the things that we're mindful of. If there's a major change, downsizing, staff reductions at the university, it will ripple through the community. It'll affect housing prices and things like that, housing starts. So it's one of those things that we just need to be cognizant of. So that's why it's in there as that threat category.
And Mark, before you quit go, I had a question. I go to State Child Care Advisory Council meeting in about another week and a half. When you're talking about second shift, is that like 12-hour shifts for nurses at the U, or are you talking more the 3 to 11 regular shifts?
Since we don't work with we should probably get the input from the nurses, but we're talking more the second shift in both the manufacturing sector and companies like GDIT. So it is really more that 5 to 11.
Okay.
And so we've done some work. I'm on the United Way task force that works on this, and we've tried to talk to some of the child care providers. They have concerns about staffing, and so we've got it's probably a chicken and the egg. If we can get some of the employers to commit to funding some of these things, then they'll add staff and stay open. But they're ongoing conversations, but it really makes it hard for a lot of families.
Right.
And I would just add on the people side, part of the community relations work is really to make sure that we are attracting a diverse workforce. There's a lot of efforts right now by companies to make sure that they're attracting the kind of talent that they need, and that really requires a very welcoming area for people to move if they're going to uproot their families and move here. And so Kelly's been on some of those conversations and some of that work, and we've talked with the airport and some of the other places where people initially kind of have a perception of this area. And we do have a very diverse community here, and that's something to celebrate. And I think the communities that are really focusing on that welcoming aspect are seeing their economies continue to thrive because they do have the workforce that will stay. We have about 6 months to keep people when they move here, and then if they don't feel connected and feel welcome, they tend to leave. And that's anecdotal, but from companies. And so that effort, along with a new wingman project, where when you're new to the area, you can ask for a wingman or woman to help you during that transition time. So that's kind of a grassroots effort that we're part of to allow for that connection to happen. So I think those, in this time when we're all kind of battling for people, and that's kind of the reality. There's a lot of communities that are working very hard to attract people and talent, and we're right there among the Portlands and Austins, and like Mark said, we have those people coming here and entertaining the idea of moving here, and we do get a lot of them, but like Mark said, we're going to need more to fill the jobs that are coming. So we're trying to do some creative things to really call attention to this area as a great place to live. And then as a team, we really try to involve ourselves in the community. And so this is just an example of some of the organizations and movements and projects that we're involved in as a team. Many of them board positions, but also events. Events are really important when we look at how the community feels about the place they live, whether they're encouraging other friends to move here. Are there things to do? We get that question a lot. What happens here? What do you do? And I will comment, I was part of an event last 2 weeks ago at the Coralville Performing Arts Center, where people from all over the state were here for a competition for some high school girls, and I heard lots of positive comments about Coralville, people who had not been here in a long time, and I heard several people just say how amazing, they just couldn't believe everything that had popped up since the last time they were here. So I'll just pass that on too as positive comment.
And we don't have a slide on the startup activity. I don't know where our slide went on that one, but it's some amazing things happening around there. Higher Learning Technologies has acquired their largest competitor. They continue to grow leaps and bounds. Voxello got FDA approval for their Noddle, which is a device that allows individuals who are intubated in a hospital to communicate with the caregivers and their family, which is an amazing thing. So that passed its FDA approval. So the flywheel's moving. The companies are growing, they're innovating, they're doing great things, and I think it's all just kind of a reflection of the larger ability to build the housing and the transportation and the amenities. And we look forward to the arena project and all those things that are just going to make this area more of a catalyst to attract people. So we appreciate the opportunity to represent Coralville. We thank you for all of your support, and happy to answer any other questions. And
any questions for Mark or Kate? Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming. It's always good to get the report. Really appreciate that. So.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on, I believe the next item is the consent calendar.
Move to approve the consent calendar, items A through FF inclusive.
Second.
Moved by Gill, seconded by Hope. Any discussion? Roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich. Hope. Gross. Gill.
Aye.
The consent calendar is approved, all ayes. Item 18 is City Administrator's Report.
Yeah, just a couple of things. First, I would just like to thank our television group, and especially Eric. This last weekend we had the legislative forum here at City Hall, and thanks to their work and efforts, we had an overflowed crowd of about 200 people, and they did have sound set up, and a lot of effort had been put into making sure that people at least could hear and participate in the forum here. So just appreciate their effort and all those people that did come out. and participate in that. And one note I saw on Facebook that I extremely appreciated was a picture of two of our legislators after the forum here, and they'd spent 4.5 hours, and one a Republican and one a Democrat, and they were having lunch together afterwards. And so I thought that was a great sign that hopefully more of our
In Coralville.
in Coralville, yeah. So, but hopefully more of those kinds of things could happen. Nick,
Kelly, before you move on, I just want to also give a shout out to Tony Rowland. He was also here the entire time, I believe, and did the sort of the gatekeeper, sergeant at arms, kept order. So appreciate your time too, Tony.
And there will be a legislative trip to Des Moines next Tuesday for anyone that's interested in participating. And one of the things on the schedule, amongst others, is to meet with the Lieutenant Governor that day to just talk about our area and activities that are occurring during that time. So, and we will be rescheduling next week's, or excuse me, the council meeting on the 14th because of spring break and schedules of everyone. We will be changing that. We'll set that at the work session. That will be on our website tomorrow for the date, just so that everybody's aware, and would encourage the public that are interested to make sure that they check, because there will not be one on the 14th. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. I just have a few things to mention under Mayor's report. One, I just wanted to tell you that a week ago Friday, Kelly and Josh Schomburger from the CVB and I made a presentation in Des Moines to the Iowa Department of Economic Development, basically giving them an update on the Iowa Reinvestment Tax District, the ARENA project. And they were quite impressed by the fact that how much progress we've already made, but the fact that the first two Watts buildings were included in the district, and they're completed and 99% occupied. We broke ground last Thursday on the third project. The Drury Hotel has done groundwork and initiated groundwork, and so we're well along on a project, and they were very impressed to see that, and very excited to hear the report on how we're doing with the actual design of the rest of the district. And they did give us an extension on our project that we needed. So that was a great presentation. And again, I'll just mention that on last Thursday we broke ground with the third Watts development project. There's a big hole there already. It didn't take long for them to get started on that. And after that, that'll be 30-some units of housing up above commercial on the first floor. And after that finished, the group, there's quite a large group that attended that groundbreaking, was invited to see a sneak preview of Fuzzy Tacos, and that was looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun, great place to eat. Had an opportunity with Kelly to take a tour of the inside of the new Leapfrog building that Mark mentioned. Beautiful building on the outside and equally amazing on the inside, and that's a great addition to the community as well. And on a more mundane but final item is the city received a handful of complaints, as I noticed too. I would have maybe complained if I wasn't the mayor, of the aircraft, low-flying aircraft last Sunday morning that was flying over and over and over Coralville. It's not the first time that I've noticed that. And so we did some investigation, and it was the Iowa Highway Patrol doing a speed enforcement project on Highway 965 South. So south of I-80 going down towards Hills, and apparently the flight pattern for their aircraft had them circling back over Coralville, and it was just going over and over and over again, and police department took some complaints, and I heard some comments as well. So I'm going to provide a friendly request to the Highway Patrol that we appreciate very much their enforcement of safety laws in this area, but would appreciate not doing it on Sunday morning when people are at home and trying to rest.
Sounded like they were going to crash. I mean, it was really low.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that in case the people in the audience heard that as well. That's it for the mayor. City attorney's report.
There'll be two items, I think. Number one, won't affect any of you. The last day of February, the 28th, is the deadline for farmer income tax season. It certainly affected me, but as a preparer, more importantly, the 28th, the last day of February, is my wife Shirley's birthday. and by default, because her birthday is actually the 29th of February. And I have to say, it's kind of exciting to be living with a person who's just had their 19th birthday. And in addition to that, from a frugal standpoint, it's cuts the gifts down by at least a fourth, you know. Kevin?
Did you get her McDonald's for her birthday dinner?
Pardon?
Did you get her McDonald's for your birthday dinner?
Yes.
Okay. I have nothing further.
Okay.
Dutch treat.
Okay. Anything else, Kevin? Or no. Tom? Okay. Committee and council members report. We'll start down with Bill.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things. First of all, yesterday, I noticed that the Iowa Highway Traffic Division had an oversized semi parked in the would have been the westbound turn lane for 80 on First Avenue. Well, the issue was it was about 5:30 when they were doing it, so traffic had backed up from there all the way just about to 2nd Street. So I don't know if this is an ongoing thing, whatever they're doing, but I don't know if a gentle reminder or request maybe you put out to them to be sensitive about the time. Maybe not at between 7 and 9 in the morning, and maybe not around 5 o'clock in the evening, as it was quite a mess.
My wife texted me and said she wanted to know what was going on too, and she said that a couple of Coralville police officers were out there. She thought it was broke down,
and asked them if they could, see if they could maybe move along or move the semi or something, because it was quite a mess. So moving into the future, I know that they're going to be doing some work there potentially, and I don't know how often that's going to happen, but certainly maybe a request for that. Secondly, I think we ought to expedite to get that plane to fly higher or not over, because I could just see Tom getting aggravated and putting rock salt in his anti-aircraft. That's all I have. Thanks.
Okay. Mitch.
Library report, March 5th. From 11 to 4 is the putt-putt for library, which is kind of the big fundraiser. If you haven't done it, it's kind of a fun thing. They turned the library into an indoor mini golf tournament. So it's $5 to get in, and it's kind of a good day to bring kids and explore the library that way. So that's kind of my committee report, Mr. Mayor.
Very good.
I was gone on Sunday, so I don't know anything about the low-flying plane.
Okay. Tom?
My only comment is I know about the low-flying plane because I was on the road. And there were, the whole weekend was a sweep all the way to Washington, Iowa on 965.
Up and down.
Every time you try to get over the speed limit, there was a policeman there. So. But they do this in the spring, they do it in the fall, don't they, Bill? Yep. They've got a routine that and it's usually a 3-day weekend or something like that that's happening. So that's my only comment.
We better see what the new chief's power is with the highway patrol.
Maybe you could put a balloon up.
Exactly.
Send up a drone.
Jill?
I just had one thing for my gentleman down there on the IRL committee. I spoke to an owner down at the IRL, and she's still concerned about the 2-hour parking with the tickets. And she says she knows of at least 2 other businesses that have been paying parking tickets for the customers down there. So I don't know. She just said it's mostly a signage issue because, they're pretty spread out and people don't see them. So I don't know if that's something you can discuss in your committee meeting about maybe more signage, because, she's worried about customers, and I don't think they should have to be.
So she's having customers in her store for longer than 2 hours?
Well, I think the situation is that people don't know there's a 2-hour difference. So she says they may, it is made to be a walkability issue thing down there. So they might go to lunch, they might go to Von Maurer's, then they might hit some of the little shops along the way, and it goes over the 2-hour limit, then they get a ticket. And so I just wanted to maybe bring that up because we want to make sure it's really friendly down there to keep bringing it in. Other than that, she thought it was fabulous down there. So.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's it.
That it? Lori?
I'd like to mention appreciation to Tom and Deb Gill and Mike and the girls for the really special area in the library now, a craft area in memory of Annie Gill.
Thank you. That's a Tri-T organization that should be thanked. They're the ones that are putting that together.
Tri-T?
Tri-T group, Wellens Group. that's-
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, I
thank
know
you.
you're very involved, and I know Annie was a crafter, and it's really special
Well, thank you.
to have that addition
Thank
to our
you.
library.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.